There have been a few battles in the Silent Hill community about a particular feature that the Silent Hill 2 remake has. It was something that even I noticed when Bloober was talking about the game during transmission. It was only shown for about 2 seconds, but it was enough to cause widespread panic among fans of Silent Hill and purists of the whole horror genre. Alright, it's not that serious, but still. There is a dodging mechanic. Now, you guys don't need me to explain what dodging is. I've seen people talking in favor of the addition, but quite a few seem against it. Some of those defending it are being a bit obnoxious, claiming that those against it are being snobs, and to be honest, some of them are. Many opposed are coming off as elitists and gatekeepers while doing a terrible job articulating why they have a problem with it. As I observed, I started to wonder how I actually feel about it. Now, I hate saying it depends. Obviously it depends. Some games manage to take features of one genre and make it a fluid and effective mechanic in another. Things that start off in one game can even become an industry standard. But horror is a really hard genre to nail down. I'd even go so far as to say that horror is the hardest genre to get right, since there's no real formula for making a game scary. There are a ton of different styles of horror games, so in the end, it really has more to do with the execution of everything together. Now, in the context of Silent Hill, dodging isn't in the original 3-team Silent games. Try as you might to claim that Silent Hill has always had a dodge mechanic, at least the one people are thinking of, it's not an active feature that people comfortably or functionally use. If anything, avoiding combat and damage is what was really incentivized, only fighting when most necessary or when you know you'll have a tough time if you don't clear your path of obstacles. Strafing exists, mostly so the player isn't stuck using only tank controls. All of that to say, positioning has always been the main focus of Silent Hill and most tank control combat, maintaining a level of distance from danger and only approaching it when necessary. I can't think of many games with tank controls that have a deep and engaging combat system. And for horror games, a rudimentary system with limited supplies can really help make you feel inexperienced and unprepared for the situation you're in. Silent Hill 4 doesn't have tank controls, and has a dodge move, but it's really rough, ineffective, and kind of useless against the enemies of the game. I'm not sure if it even gives you iframes. Personally, I'd go so far as to say that running away is a lot more necessary in 4 than the others. Even with a more combat-friendly movement system, dodging doesn't really help much, at least it didn't help me much. So it's hard for me to see what was shown and agree with the sentiment that Silent Hill has always had this feature. Homecoming did, but this is a conversation about Silent Hill 2 remake. To dodge is... God damn it, I said I wouldn't explain it. It's not simply moving out of the way, it's a mechanic designed to minimize or even neutralize the threat of damage. The trade-off is that you usually have to get good at it, but once you're good at it, it can change how you approach enemies. So does it ruin horror games? You need to look at how it affects the rest of the game on a case-by-case basis. Some games pull it off with satisfying efficiency. As shitty as Resident Evil 3 Remake was, the dodge move was pretty solid. You needed to have good timing and were punished for messing it up. If enemies are easily killed, then yeah, the dodge can kind of break a bit of immersion. But if they're reasonably tanky, and there's still a risk in fighting them, then there'll still be a high threat that keeps the player on their toes. It really just depends on how often you have to fight and how easy it is to handle the situation. On the reverse side, if the enemies are easy to fight but have high health bars, then it can quickly go from threatening to exhausting. There needs to be a balance, and I'd like to see them get it right for both normal and hard mode. So, the game doesn't necessarily lose its edge just because there's a dodge mechanic. But now, there's the unseen effect of having this feature in the game. Would it mess up the tone of the game in some way? James is a normal guy. He even looks kind of frail in this one compared to his original self on the PS2. Wait, not that version. It would be kind of weird if he was easily able to dodge attacks from monsters trying to kill him. Some of them with more, questionable attacks. Like, how would he know this is about to hurt? He's a normal guy, so that should be reflected a bit. What he's dealing with on the dilapidated streets of Silent Hill is deadly, savage, brutal. This isn't like anything he should have ever experienced in his life. If there's a combat focus, or if James is a little too similar to mainstream action heroes, then the game can lose a bit of the subtlety that it's known for. I think that's what a lot of Silent Hill fans are trying to express when they worry about things like this. We all just want to be scared. Combat has never been Silent Hill's strong suit or focus, something that really helps steer it towards focusing on the atmosphere. Tight hallways and slow, clunky movements make it feel like you need to watch your step wherever you go. And the slowness of moving around as well as the shoddy movements allow you to stop and take in the environment and atmosphere much better than in an action game. It really helps it as a game with a narrative focus. I could go on about this topic. There's different lenses and different comparisons that could be made, but I think I've dived into the mindset enough to answer just this question for myself. Is dodging in Silent Hill 2 Remake a potential problem? And my answer is, in my opinion, no. To be honest, all we saw was one dodge for 2 seconds in a homecoming style of combat. I completely understand the worry that people have about it, but I think they're reading into it entirely too much. As long as there's a good balance, there's nothing to worry about. I've said it before, the main thing I'm worried about for this remake is that it won't be scary. I'm not looking for a one-to-one remake of the original. This game isn't only for us longtime fans, it's also for new players wanting to get into the series. If James can dodge, if he can move, that's fine. If James is constantly fighting and showing off how physically fit he is, that might pull me away from things a little bit. But I highly doubt that's the case, and I don't think people should jump the gun just because he's gained a bit of finesse. On the list of things I don't want to see in the game, this is one of the least worrisome things. To summarize, I don't think dodging is a problem. I'm looking forward to this game and I'm excited to talk more about it. But what I'm craving is a horror game that lives for the subtlety, that makes you feel suffocated and trapped and paranoid. I don't think anyone should worry just yet about the combat additions in the same way that I don't think anyone should worry about James not having patches on his jacket or Pyramid Head not having a hole for his tongue. On second thought, you should all worry about that. It's the only hill I'll die on, no pun intended. Alright, that's all for me.